Good afternoon, everyone. Guys, this is going to be one of those warning videos where I'm asking you guys to share this between friends and family who think this is never going to happen. Now, I've been saying for such a long time that we're heading towards a water catastrophe in the United Kingdom. We've got all the ingredients for, and again, this doesn't need to happen, but we've got all the ingredients in the United Kingdom at the moment for people. Yeah, I don't want to say people are gonna, die of thirst, because I think that's a stretch of the imagination. But we definitely have water shortages coming. Now, with this water shortages, think about water shortages to industry, water shortages to agriculture. So it's not just being able to turn the tap on and get a drink of water. We have huge, lasting, deeper problems with our water system. So let me share you real quick an article on what's been happening with the UK's water supply. Now, this article is, this one. Now, this article, it's a few months old. It's like over 5 months old. But, it talks about, after months of deluge, it seems incomprehensible that the UK could face water shortages in the event of hot and dry spring and summer, yada, yada, yada. So they talk about the reasons why it could happen, and then they identify. So climate's one reason that this happens. Obviously, we're getting climate change, whether that's man-made or not, I don't want to get into. We've got rivers, we don't have as many, the rivers and canals are not what they used to be. Soil, we've drained out all our wetlands and we're building houses on it. But here it is, guys. I have been saying this for such a long time. Reservoirs, we don't build enough reservoirs. So why not dig, guys? And it's really strange because it's literally, when I'm reading this, I think I could have written this myself, because it just it's the things I've been saying. Why not dig some massive reservoirs to catch all of the water that falls in autumn and winter? Good question. It's been 30 years since the last major reservoir was built in the UK, which means there has not been one since privatisation. Sounds suspicious? Some argue, guys, some argue, it's ridiculous, that there is little incentive to invest in infrastructure. I want to shout right now, but the microphone would make everything blurred. Some argue that there's little incentive to invest in infrastructure such as reservoirs when a private company is trying to give as much money to shareholders as possible. England is one of the few countries in the world where water is fully owned by private companies. Now, guys, I've been saying this for such a long time, and I just want to reiterate some of the things. Now, we've got a system in the United Kingdom at the moment where we're growing in population. Now, it's not just the reinvesting in these waterways. It's not just reinvesting in our rivers, in our reservoirs, building new reservoirs. It's the pipes that get them there. It's the leaking pipes. It's the broken pipes. It's the pump houses that have not been refurbished. And it's where, as what's her name? Angela Rayner. Angela Rayner's coming out and she's saying, we're going to build 1.5 million houses. First of all, who's going to build those houses? Where are we getting the builders from? Where are we getting the materials from? That's if we print the money out of thin air. So I don't think 1.5 million houses are ever going to be built. But what I will say is, there are housing estates, housing developments. They're popping up everywhere. They're popping up all over the country. Where are they getting the water from, guys? Where's this water coming from? I'll tell you where. They're just tapping into the existing system. So whereas you had, you might have had a reservoir this much to, to service 10 people. This same reservoir is now, maybe doing 50 people, 100 people, because more people that are getting houses, they're going to need an amount of water, whether they're in a hotel, a house, a flat, whatever. People go to the toilet, people wash their clothes, people get a bath, people get a shower, people drink, people have cups of tea. All this adds to the system. And it's not, guys, and it's not just the reservoirs either. It's the whole water purification, the water processing. When you flush the toilet, where does that go? Where does the sewage build up? Where are the filters coming from? And all this stuff should be managed by private companies. And it is being managed by private companies. But the problem is because we only have one supplier and there's no choice, because I can't say, oh, do you know what, Yorkshire Water, you're a bit crappy with your water supply. I'm going to go to Virgin Water, or I'm going to go to O2 Water. Because of that, the product doesn't get any better, because there's no incentive for those guys to reinvest, because all they're doing is extracting money from your water bill kind of is a tax now, because you have to pay it and you get no choice. So you could argue, I mean, do you know what, guys? I'm going to call this video the water tax. So already, you know, we're seeing these cracks, no pun intended, you know, these cracks in our water system. We're seeing the fact that we're not reinvesting in our water system. And, you know, it seems like one of these things that we just take for granted, guys. It feels like we take water for granted, you know, in this country. Now, I'm always fastidious about water, because I was, what's the town called? I was stuck in a town called Amuda, which is northeast Syria. So basically, I was traveling to a place in Syria called Kobani, which is on the Turkish border. But we had to cross over from Iraq. So I had to go over I think it's the Tigris, I think it's the Tigris. Had to go over as on one of the refugee little metal boats. I got to the other end, and it was like, normally it's a 12-hour drive from the crossing at Fishkapur to Kobani. After a certain amount of time, there was a security issue, so we had to stay off at a house in Amuda. I was in there, guys, for 24 hours. Now, I had 2 liters of water. I know what you're saying. Oh, but you only need to drink 3 liters of water per day, guys. Honestly, you know, after the first 10 hours, I drank that water, and then the psychological problems, because I didn't know when I was going to get picked up. You know, the problems, your thought patterns, it's just terrifying. And I always say, you know, imagine being in your house or wherever you live, your flat, your apartment, and you've run out of water, and your kids are saying, Mummy, Daddy, I'm thirsty, I want something to drink. You know, right now, while the going's good and you can go and get it from the supermarket, guys, please, just go and get yourselves 3 liters of water per person per day for however many people you've got. Just keep enough for 3 days in your house. Trust me. If you ever need it, you will thank me so much, because, guys, you know, running out of water and being thirsty, it's not a cool thing. But because we live in the United Kingdom, we think this can never happen to us because it rains all the time and we have such a downpour of, rain. But as we've just seen, that rain, most of it just runs back off into the sea. Most of it vanishes. And, you know, we're heading towards a situation, as we get population increase, as we get all these other outside factors. And again, sorry, I've got something in my mouth. You know, and again, we've got to look at things and be realistic. What if a couple of these pumps are sabotage? What if one Tuesday afternoon, some saboteurs paid by a foreign adversary are told, right, guys, you guys go and destroy these 5 pump houses all at the same time on this same day. Look what happened when it was one of the water companies, I think, in Devon. They were off water for like, I think 3 or 4 days initially, and then some of the houses didn't get water until I think 10 days. How much, and the government shipped in, the council or whatever, shipped in bottled water. Imagine if that happened on a national scale. Guys, believe me, there's not enough water bottles to go around. I can guarantee you. So where's this water going to come from? It's going to be a national emergency. It's going to be the biggest embarrassment this country has ever faced. And that's quite a lot, guys. Can you imagine the situation where the United Kingdom, one of the wettest countries in the world, one of the rainiest countries in the world, is running out of water because we're taking it for granted? But, as more people rely on this system, more people rely on the water grid, more people rely on the water pumps, and less people invest into it because, a lot of these people who are coming over, from other countries, they're not paying for their water. So again, I know it's kind of saying, oh, the water companies are not investing anyway. No, they're not. But it's kind of, if everybody was paying their fair share, it would be fine. Everything would be fine. But people don't pay their fair share. And that's the problem. Not only are people not paying their fair share, but people are not paying their fair share, and the shareholders are taking money out of the fair share that's not fair. It's absolutely insane, guys. All right. So this is, it's just one of those warning videos, a water warning video. Guys, please make sure you've got enough water for you and your family for 3 days. It's not going to take up that much space. Put it in the cellar, put it in the spare room, put it under the bed, keep it in a dry, dark place. And believe me, you will be so grateful if you ever need that water. Absolutely insane. Guys, there's one more little thing. I'll just read this. I'll put the link in the description. This came out yesterday, sorry. UK calls investor meeting as Thames water crisis exposes fragility. Guys, if you remember my first videos, especially on my other platform, I talked about this. I said how these water companies, and I literally highlighted all the things that they're talking about now. Senior ministers will host investors next week in a bid to attract cash to the UK water industry, whose fragility has been laid bare in recent months by the ongoing financial struggles of the country's biggest provider, Thames Water. This is a canary in the coal mine. Guys, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to be bold. I'm going to say every water company is in a similar situation. Every water company is trying to maximize. You can't even call it profits, can you? Because profits would be when you provide goods or a service with a competitor. So it's kind of like maximized wealth extraction. That's what it is, guys. While investors try to maximize wealth extraction, and this is at our expense, because we can see time and time again, these guys are not reinvesting in the water facilities. These guys are not investing in that thing that we pay them to invest in. They're just taking it for themselves. Now, this has nothing to do with capitalism. This is to do with not having a choice, because capitalism without a choice isn't capitalism. Privatization without a choice isn't a market. It's not privatization. It's socialization, where this is literally what you get when you get socialism, which is what's going to come if we start, altering ticket prices. The article goes on. I'll put the link in the description, guys. Have a read of it if you want. Tell me what you think, guys. Am I totally wrong? Does the UK have a sufficient amount of water, and can we keep, do we really need to invest it, or are we right to think, you know what, we don't need to reinvest in reservoirs. We don't need to refurbish pipes, water houses, water pumps, piping systems. We don't need to replace them. We're happy with the leaky pipes, and we're happy with the little reservoirs we've got. I don't know. Guys, let me know what you think in the comments, and please share this to someone who, your nan, your granddad, somebody, maybe a vulnerable person who's not thinking about water, because like nanans and granddads, they've always turned their taps on. They've never heard anything like this. And a lot of them, and I don't mean to be negative to people, but certainly my grandparents, when they were alive, they wouldn't have listened to me. They'd have just been like, Sean, we'll get water from the tap. And I'd be like, right, okay. And I'd have just taken it for them. And I'd just said, right, I've got that in the garage. Just leave it there. If you need it, it's there. If not, I'll change it out in 6 months or whatever. But guys, we really do. This is a water warning. We have a crisis on its way. Anyway, guys, I am going to mag to grid. I'll speak to you guys soon. I'll get you another video later.